Hi everyone, this is Arlie Honeycutt, Miss North Carolina, and this is my first foray into vlogging. Rather than our average blog this week, I'm going to vlog instead. So we'll see how this goes. It's kind of exciting to mix it up. Speaking of mixing it up, you may notice that this doesn't look like the Manor Sixth Forks if you've ever been. It's not my fabulous Raleigh apartment, but it is an equally fabulous bed and breakfast here in Beaufort, North Carolina. I'm actually staying at the Cedar Inn in Beaufort for the North Carolina Seafood Festival in Moorhead, which I'm very excited about. There are so many fantastic bed and breakfasts here in North Carolina, and this one is no exception. It's kind of one of those things where I walked in and I wanted to just run around and do everything at once. I felt like I was in Home Alone or something. Like, I don't know if I need to go over here and sit in this chair and sit in that chair. I was very excited. That being said, I have stayed in more than one really fabulous place this month in my travels as Miss North Carolina. The last time that I blogged, I actually was headed to Ahoskie the next day for the Heritage Festival and stayed in the wonderful Jernigan house, which was so much fun. I got to meet the owners. Their granddaughters came all the way from West Virginia because they wanted to meet the princess. They were so sweet. Their grandson reminded me a lot of my little brother. It was a blast. Had a wonderful time staying there, and a cool thing is that it's actually the home of the third Miss North Carolina, Nancy Jernigan. So that was really neat to stay somewhere that she had lived for several years of her life. And while I was in Ahoskie, I did go to the Heritage Festival. It was so much fun. All the people in Ahoskie were so friendly, just the nicest town, and the Heritage Festival was an absolute blast. I had a really wonderful time appearing in their parade and getting to know some of the people in Ahoskie. And I had actually come from the Garner Chiropractic Open the day before, which was a lovely event. Once again, really nice people. It was nice to be back in my hometown of Garner for an event, and I had a great time there. After that, about a week later, a little less than a week later, I headed to the Lee County Fair for 3 days, which was so much fun. It was action-packed, never a dull moment, and I had a blast. A large part of me being there was due to the Miss Lee County Fair pageant, the Lee Regional Fair. Title holders were so sweet, and the competition was absolutely fantastic. It was very high energy and such a cool setting. It was neat to go to a pageant right there at the fair. You could look out past the stage, and right behind you was the midway, and you could see the Ferris wheel. It was so neat. I had a wonderful time going and meeting their title holders, and I also had the opportunity to go to several schools while I was in Lee County with the Lee Regional Fair. It was a blast. I got to visit 3 middle schools on the second day that I was there. And they were absolutely wonderful. So much fun. They had the best questions. They requested that I rap for them at one school, and I did not. I forgot that I know all of the words to lip gloss, and actually if you click around on YouTube, you may or may not be able to find Miss North Carolina rapping. So there we go. I also visited some elementary schools while I was there to greet the winners of the Miss Lee Regional Fair pageants. They were so nice, so much fun. I had the best time there. And I also got to judge the Battle of the Bands while I was at the Lee Regional Fair, which I guess earns me cool points with my brother Jack, if nothing else. It was so much fun. So many talented ensembles and a very wide variety of music. There was blues, there was jazzier bands, there were like screamo bands the year before, they said, and we didn't experience any screamo bands, but we had some really hard rockers out there. It was so much fun and just a cool thing to get to be a part of. I had a really great time. I also went to a Celebrate My Drive event in the western part of the state, and it was a wonderful event. It was really cool to see so many different people coming together to educate teenagers about safe driving. And I also went to the Comfort Zone Kids Camp tournament. It's a golf tournament that raises money for the Comfort Zone Kids Camp, which helps kids who are dealing with recent family members in their family passing away. It's a really great organization, and I was happy to get to be a part of their fundraiser golf tournament this year. I went and visited Kinston Charter this month, and that was a lot of fun. And I also, while I was in the area, I got to attend an ECU alumni event at Cypress Glen Retirement Community. And it was really cool because I got to go and meet with all these previous Pirates, people who had been at ECU when it was ECTC. And then, just earlier that day, I had spoken to kids who said, well, I want to go to ECU. I want to be a pirate someday. So it's really neat to see, different generations of pirates, the up and coming and the people who know it best already. It was just a neat day to get to see those kids who have these dreams and aspiration and these adults that had so much wisdom to offer on the subject. It was really fantastic. I did something interesting after I left Greenville. I headed straight to the area where I am right now. I went to Harker's Island and very briefly dropped my car off there at my grandparents' vacation place at Harker's Island. Hopped in the car with my aunt Gail and Uncle Dale, and they drove me to Davis, North Carolina, where I took a ferry along with Miss Donna and her daughter, and we went to have our inaugural adventurous journey for this fall. It was really exciting. We stayed at the Cape Lookout Great Island Cabins, which are on down the South Core banks. It was a real adventure. We made a fire and cooked over an open flame, which was very neat. Alexandria Freeman joined us the next day, and that was when the real fun started. We set off on a hike to Cape Lookout Lighthouse. I've been there several times and I've never hiked there. I've always come via boat. And so the hike was a different experience, especially considering that it was a 14+ mile hike. And we knew what it was getting into it, and it was kind of interesting because all of the people on the island that we told, oh yeah, we're gonna hike to the lighthouse the second day that we're there, said, are you really? Are you sure about that? You want to do it? And we did, and we made it to the lighthouse. Our feet were kind of sore at the end, and they headed back via mule, I believe, and I headed back on my grandparents' boat. My parents picked me up, and I wrapped up my first adventurous journey, but it was a really great experience. It was cool to get to go to the next level of the Duke of Edinburgh program, and I'm very excited to get to be involved because, people see Miss North Carolina, they see someone with a crown on their head, and they don't necessarily think of them, tying on their tennis shoes and walking for 14 miles down a beach. It's one of those things where it's really cool to get to say, yeah, I accomplished that, and I did that. And now I've done it, and I don't necessarily know that I want to do it again, but I can say that I've hiked over 14 miles and lived to tell the tale. So it's kind of empowering in that way. So it was a cool first Duke of Edinburgh adventurous journey experience. Some other highlights of this month, and thank you guys for hanging in there with me as I tell you my life story. It's been a busy month. I had the opportunity to visit the Asheboro Rotary Club last week, which was a wonderful visit. I had the chance to be on the show We Should Know on Star Vision, which was so nice, and visit with their Rotary Club after I visited on the show, and so that was neat to get to see a couple of different Rotary Clubs, especially since I was made an honorary member of the Crabtree Rotary Club back in August. I got to attend the Hartnett Health System's Betsy Johnson's 75th birthday celebration and sing happy birthday to the hospital. We had some rain, but everybody hung in there and was so excited to be there that it turned out to be a really fantastic celebration despite the somewhat dreary weather. I also got to attend Pitt County Fair's Got Talent, which was so much fun. I had the opportunity to sing the national anthem for the opening ceremony of the Pitt County Fair and then MC the talent competition later on. I was very excited because Sherry Berry was there, and I know her very well from riding in several elevators, and so I was a little bit starstruck when I met her at the opening ceremonies. And I was also excited because my former Carolina Princess, back when I was an outstanding teen, Cece Huffman, won the overall talent award. So I was very proud of her, and I think it's really great to see people who have started in our program and started when they were young go on and do really fantastic things. So that was very exciting. I have had so many wonderful sponsor visits. I had the opportunity to visit several clothing sponsors this month, including Isabella Grape, which was absolutely fantastic. Their new location, if you haven't visited, go, because it's awesome. I got to go to Cousin Couture, which is wonderful as usual. I had my first trip to J. Montague's, which was fantastic. They have the coolest setup there. It's a really big facility, and they have so much going on and so many wonderful clothes, so be sure to stop in to Cousin Couture and J. Montague when you're in the Fuquay Arena area. And I would also recommend an Affair to Remember, which I visited for the first time in Fayetteville. and oh, it was so nice. It's such a fantastic place and so many beautiful dresses. I had a wonderful time visiting with them. And my most recent sponsor clothing visit was to Greg Ellenberg's in South Carolina to check out my Miss America wardrobe. I went to my first fitting there, and it was very exciting, and I'm just getting more and more excited about Miss America each and every day. So it was a great visit, and a huge thank you to all of our fantastic sponsors. I also had my first tune-up at Toyota of Camry this past month, which was really wonderful. And that was my 5,000 mile checkup. I hit 10,000 miles last night on my way to dinner. So, woo, there you go. Life of Miss North Carolina, on the road a lot. I also had a chance to have my portrait sitting with Sam Gray. He's an amazing photographer and such a down-to-earth person. It was a really fantastic experience, and I can't wait to see the final product. So, now that I have talked your ears off, I guess I'll go ahead and sign off. I had a really fantastic visit today here at the Crystal Coast. I went to the Tassels. It was called the Lunch, Shop, and Sip event, and they do it, it's a fashion show and lunch where they have all these different vendors come, and you can check out different vendors in the area, and Tassels was so gracious. They invited me to be a part of the event, so I got to go and help them promote awareness and raise funds for the Boys and Girls Club, and then afterwards, I had the opportunity to go visit the Boys and Girls Clubs of Coastal Carolina, and it was so much fun. The kids were a blast, and actually while I was at the fashion show, they had some younger models modeling little girls' clothes, and one of them made this wonderful coloring for me. So thank you so much to Lindsay. I really appreciate the beautiful shoe, and it will go on my refrigerator as soon as I get home. All that being said, it's been a really exciting weekend already. It's been such an exciting month, and it just continues to get better and better every minute. Next month, the fair is coming up, which is huge. Come and visit me and several preliminary title holders at the North Carolina State Fair. We also will have Alex Badgett there for a few days. So if you haven't had the opportunity to meet me in person, or you haven't had the opportunity to meet our outstanding team, come on down. It's going to be excellent. We'll be in the education building, so I hope to see you there at the fair. We also have lots of Miss America prep coming up, and more details on wardrobe showing and things like that will probably be coming up soon. And my People's Choice video will be getting online hopefully soon. We just submitted that this past month, and so we'll be seeing that online, and hopefully that'll make a splash. We'll see. I'm here at the Seafood Festival this weekend, and then I had a meeting for Military Missions in Action just the other night, and so that's an exciting event that's coming up in the next month or so. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I hope that everyone has a very safe and happy October. Bye.